Hello, fellow Pops. I'm Dr. F. Scott Feil, and I'm bringing you a message from our sponsor at Ice Shaker. My diet's always been a little bit messed up most of my life, and I recently started trying to take back control of my health. And one of the issues my doctor pointed out was that I needed to make an increase in my protein intake. Now, I can't eat chicken breasts all day, every day, so protein shakes and powders have become a big help. Ice Shaker and its built-in removable agitator is an amazing product. They come in a bunch of sizes and colors, and you can even get inscriptions and logos on them. They're stainless steel, double wall insulated, and hold ice for 30 plus hours. If you're interested in purchasing one, you can click on the link in our show notes. Or if you're interested in selling them for your business and making commission, and let's be honest, if you're listening to the Professors of Profit Vlogcast and you can consider yourself a pop or a professor of profit, you're likely interested in selling these as a side hustle. You can click on that link in the show notes as well. Or you can reach out to me directly on social media. I'm pretty available there. I love Ice Shaker, and I'm betting you, your patients, and your clients will too. Ice Shaker, let's shake things up. Now let's start the show. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Professors of Profit Vlogcast. I'm your host, Dr. F. Scott Feil, and I've got with me today an amazing guest, Aaron Walker. Aaron's going to talk to us a little bit about masterminds in general. So, Aaron, if you wouldn't mind, introduce yourself to my audience and tell them a little bit about what you're up to these days.
Hey, Scott, thanks for having me on, man. Things are really good here. I'm a native Nashvilleian, Nashville, Tennessee, 62 years. You know, there's not many of us around anymore. Married 42 years to Robin, my childhood sweetheart, 2 daughters, 2 son-in-laws, and 5 grandchildren from 6 to 20 years old. So things are good here. I started my first business when I was 18, sold to a Fortune 500 when I was 27, took a little time off. Went back and bought the company I started with when I was a teenager. We grew it to about 4 times the size it was over the next 10 years. And then 2001 hit for me, Scott. And what transpired then was I was headed to the office. Things were really good for me until a guy named Enrique decided to catch a local bus and didn't look my way. And unfortunately, I ran over and killed a pedestrian that day on my way to the office. And it was a real pivotal moment for me. It was a time for me to really sit up and take notice and understand the brevity of life. And it really put me on a new trajectory. And I told God, I said, listen, if you'll give me another opportunity, I'll look outward instead of inward. I'll be a level of significance rather than just all about success. And so I owned a couple of other companies in the interim. 12 years ago, I retired and went to my mastermind group, something that I've been involved in for decades. And some of the members encouraged me to start coaching. And 42 years of marriage and 14 businesses, they said, you've got a little bit to add. So I started coaching people around the world, and that turned into a few interviews, and that turned into 15 mastermind groups that we host today called Iron Sharpens Iron.
Yeah, that's a very powerful story, man. I love that. Really hits you at the core and kind of makes you think a little bit. It takes sometimes those pivotal moments in life to really inspire us and get us, thinking bigger sometimes. And I love the Iron Sharpens Iron group. Tell us a little bit about what the structure is of that mastermind. What does that look like? How does that work?
Yeah, well, let's digress a little bit back into my earlier days when I was in my 30s, 35, 40 years old. My focus was solely on making money. Right. That was my interest. And so I came home one day with a pocket full of money to a house full of strangers. And my wife said, hey, I'm very appreciative of all the things that you've provided for us. You've worked amazingly hard. We came from a very poor family, both of us did. And we had a measure of success. We had a beautiful home, had a place on the beach, all the toys, and I don't want to minimize that. Like, it was nice to have those things. But what I didn't have was significance. And I said, I don't want you to be raising the kids by yourself. I want to be here to support and to help. And the reason that I called it Iron Sharpens Iron, I'm Christian by faith. Proverbs 27:17 says, as one man sharpens another, as iron sharpens iron. And so we need people around us, Scott, on a regular basis to really encourage our superpowers, but point out our kryptonite and then highlight our blind spots so that it doesn't catch us by surprise. And so we meet weekly on a video conference call. We use a platform called Zoom. Most people today are familiar with Zoom. We meet the same time, the same day, with the same 10 people in every group, and they really become your board of advisors. They're your non-biased, trusted advisors because they don't have a dog in the hunt. They don't have anything to gain or lose as a result of meeting with you and helping you. And so today we have people from 6 different countries around the world. We're in the majority of every state in the U.S., and we come together on a weekly basis, and we have iron sharpening iron, helping people grow personally, professionally, and spiritually. So every facet of your life we're interested in.
Yeah, I love that. You know, a lot of the times when I'm kind of coaching my students and my mentees, I say, look, you know, especially if you're in the healthcare world, right? There isn't a care aspect to healthcare, right? So most people got into healthcare because they want to help people, right? They want people to get better, especially in the physical therapy realm. You know, we're rehabbing people all the time. We're trying to get them better, right? And when it comes to business, especially if you're stepping out into business as a healthcare provider, a lot of times I tell them, look, it's just coming at it from a servant's heart, right? If you come at it with that servant's heart, you'll never do wrong, right? You want to serve your population. You want to serve your community, right? And if you do that, if you take those first steps, the money will come, right? That's a byproduct of just doing the right thing and being a servant and giving yourself to the community and the population. You know, like you said, the money's nice and all, but you know, it doesn't have to be in the forefront. You know, I think it can kind of just be the byproduct of giving a good service and doing the right thing.
Well, the reality of this is we all need resources to live our life, right? We have obligations and responsibilities. We all want to live in nice homes, drive nice cars, take trips, raise our children, educate them, buy food. You know, I've developed a terrible habit of eating. And so it takes money to do that, right? And so I don't want to minimize it. I hate it when people with money go, oh, money's not important. Well, let's take it away from you and see how important it is. It's really important, but don't make it the first thought, right? Don't make it your God. Don't make it the only reason you're doing what you're doing. And so I think if you add value to people's lives, the money will come as a byproduct as a result of that. And I tell people all the time that I'm coaching all over the world, if you'll concentrate on adding value, I promise you the resources will come. And that's what we're doing each and every day in Iron Sharpens Iron Masterminds. We're adding value to these men's lives, helping them really shore up the shifting sand, right? We're getting at a place of a really firm foundation, because if you can let that facade down in front of other trusted advisors and be vulnerable and transparent at that intersection, that's where strength really begins. And once we get people to trust us, they trust the people that's in their group, we find out what those strengths are. Then we find out what your blind spots are, and we're able to shore that up and help you accomplish your goals and dreams, which allows you then to make resources to live an incredible life. But it takes a community if you're going to go far. You can go fast and go alone, but if you really want to go the distance, God designed us to be in community, and we need people around us to help us.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I wouldn't be anywhere if it wasn't for, you know, my wife, my family, my, you know, people that are in my immediate circle. You know, it just, they've supported me, and you know, I try to be that same positive support as well for all of them, because I definitely would not have gotten where I am without their help. I mean, I do a lot of stuff, and it's not easy. So I know that without their support, without their help, you know, I wouldn't be able to be where I'm at now. So I can appreciate that sentiment for sure.
Scott, I'll give you a quick little story if I can, that I think will really enlighten the audience in regards to the reason it's so important to surround yourself in community. First and foremost, if people don't know you, they can't really add value to you. And let me give you an example. I went to breakfast with a friend of mine the other day, and a guy that I know, and I said, hey, Robin and I are thinking about buying a condo down in Florida. As we get older, we really want a place that we can spend the winters where it's not quite so cool, you know, as it is here in Nashville. And I said, do you think it would be a good idea for me to buy a condo in Florida? And he goes, yeah, Big A, that'd be a great idea. And I said, why do you think that? He said, well, you said that you were thinking about it. I just assume you want one. I said, do you think I can afford it? And he thought for a minute and he goes, yeah, I think you can afford it. I said, well, let's back up and break that down for a second. I said, first of all, you don't have a clue if it'd be a good idea if I bought one in Florida. I said, you don't know Robin. You don't know my kids. You don't know my grandkids. You don't know my aspirations. You don't know my vision. You don't know my goal. You don't know anything about my history. You don't know my propensity in business, whether I'm a creator, developer, or whether I'm a maintainer, manager. And you certainly don't know if I can afford it. And he stopped and he started laughing, kind of like you're doing now. And he said, no, I really don't. I said, why do we try to give advice to people when we don't know anything about them? In my mastermind, they can answer all those questions. And so therefore they can help me make a good decision. When I was a kid, I used to remember my dad saying a tub sets on its own bottom, right? Everything is unique. And until you get in and share your story and all the data, there's no way anyone can give you sound advice. That is why masterminds have changed my life over the past 2.5 decades, is because I've surrounded myself with these trusted advisors.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, the same thing. My mastermind, I give away a lot of the same steps, the advice. It's all in my book. Everything that I've done up to this point, my blueprint, I put it all out there for free a lot of times. It's there for the taking, right? The problem becomes I can't help you if I don't know you, right? So I can't coach you through your specific business and speed bumps unless we really get to know each other and kind of hash it out. And that's where the mastermind and the coaching comes in.
The other thing is that until you know yourself what you want, no one can help you. I wrote a document called What Do I Want? And there's about 25 questions on that document. Feel free to reach out to me. I'll be happy to give it to you for free if you're interested. But in that, it very specifically helps you learn to live proactively, not reactively. Where do you want to live? How much do you want to make? How much do you want to give away? When is your focused interest in slowing down? How many businesses do you want to start? You start answering these questions, and then you can create a vision, and you can share the vision with other people to hold you accountable to accomplish what it is that you want. But there's so many people today that have a lack of clarity. They don't even know what they want. They want bigger, better, shinier, faster, just give me more. And it's kind of like the dog that caught the car. Now I don't even know what to do with it.
Right.
Listen, I know what I'm about to say is true. Money doesn't scratch the itch like you think it's going to. And so I want you to be very careful leaning your ladder on the wrong wall to just grow for monetary gain, because I promise you it is not going to do for you what you think. There's got to be meaning. There's got to be purpose. There's got to be a bigger why. That's what's going to get you up and get you motivated. It's not going to be just making a little bit more money, because we keep moving the bar. Then we go leverage ourselves and we end up with golden handcuffs, and we end up doing something that we despise each and every day just so we can pay the payments on things that we maybe shouldn't have bought to begin with. So I want to encourage you today to do a deep dive in yourself and figure out what it is that you want to do. Listen, this is not a trial run. This is our life. We're living it right now. And I want to encourage you to live it to its fullest.
Yeah, no, that's a great takeaway point there, Aaron. And I'd like to ask a question now. As far as, let's say, professors or healthcare providers, right? Whether it be PTs, OTs, nurses, doctors, whatever. If they're interested in starting a mastermind, if they really want to do this as a side business or a side hustle, or even their main hustle, right? What are some tips or tricks or pointers that you could give them? What's some advice you could give them if they want to get started in the mastermind world?
Yeah, it's a great question. 2.5 decades ago, I didn't even know what a mastermind was. And a guy that I'd been doing business with for years came to me and he said, hey, I'm going to start a mastermind. I'd love for you to participate. And it literally changed my life. And the reason it changed my life is because isolation is the enemy to excellence. And if you really want to go far, we don't know what we don't know. You have to get around people that align with your core values, people that are willing to throw a flag on your BS, people that are willing to walk in lockstep with you through the good and the bad, people that are anxious to celebrate your wins, people that are quick to hold you accountable for the goals and the dreams that you've so articulately demonstrated to the group. And so for me, I would align myself with people first and foremost that had the same core values. I'll go over my core values just so that you can understand the filters that we use. For me, my first core value is relationships matter most. Every business I've ever owned, started, or had, it started out with the person in mind. So relationships matter most. Second of all, I want to make it amazing. I don't want to halfway do it. I want to make everything as amazing as I know how. Now, it may not be amazing to everybody, but it's as amazing as I know how to do it currently. If I learn a better way, I'll switch. Third is no excuses. I hate excuses. I don't want to hear excuses. People that work for me on my team, they know if they come, they better have a solution or an idea, right? It's not about excuses. Own it. Just say, hey, this is what it is. I'll do better next time. The fourth core value is everything is figure outable. We'll figure out a way to do this, right? When my kids were little, they would come and they'd say, Dad, I don't think this can be done. I said, yes, it can be done. There's some physical limitations, but there are things that we can figure out a workaround. We may have to pivot, switch, change, but there is a way to figure this out. And then my last core value is truth before opinion. And for me as a believer, God's word is truth. And I value that more than I do opinion. Opinion is important to me, but as a Christ follower, I use God's word as the truth. And so when you find people, whatever your core values are, yours don't have to align with mine, but just sit down. A lot of people, I get tickled, Scott, a lot of people sit down and they'll go, well, honesty and integrity and character. I said, you ought to have that just for being a human being, right? That's not unique core values. Figure out what your core values are. We all should come to the table with those values, but what are your unique core values? And then use that as a filter to align yourself with other people. Then you simply go out. There's low-hanging fruit. You can get people in your community if you want to meet in person. There's people online that you can meet with. Go over with them and say, hey, would you like to level up? Would you like to have accountability? Would you like to create a vision? Would you like to walk in lockstep with me? We created the Mastermind Playbook. We teach people all over the world to build mastermind groups. So if you're interested in doing that, reach out to me. I'd be happy to teach you. It's a very, very profitable and lucrative business because it's minimal time required and the payback can be huge. And we teach people all the time with 2 mastermind groups, you can make a 6-figure income working 5 hours a week on that mastermind group. So we today have created a 7-figure business as a result of scaling masterminds. We have 15 groups now. We're about to open 3 more groups. So if you're interested in joining a group, reach out to me at viewfromthetop.com. I'd love to have a dialogue with you to talk about you joining our group. If you want me to teach you how to do it, I can do that as well.
Awesome. Yeah. You know, Aaron, I use that cliche phrase, that Jim Rohn quote, right? That's you are the sum of the 5 people that you most surround yourself with, right? And I've seen that time and time again, and it becomes cliche because it's true, you know. Hanging out with, you know, a lot of my old high school friends and buddies who, you know, are still in the same town that I grew up in. It's like, all right, well, you know, maybe that wouldn't have been the best idea, you know, so I've changed who I hang out with now. I've leveled up. I've surrounded myself with people, especially in academia, right, that are much, much smarter than me, doing much, much better research and much, much better, you know, like thought process stuff that I want to aspire to, right? I want to be like them. I want to be that good because it's just, you know, it's amazing the things that these people are doing. And that's who I want to be surrounded by. You know, those are the people I want to be with because, you know, it's that if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of your listeners today, Scott, need to get rid of some of their friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know that sounds a little bit harsh. You can't get rid of your family, but you can choose who your inner circle is. Yeah. I love to play golf. And I use this as a golf example. I love to play golf with people better than me. It raises the bar for me. It makes me try harder. I learn new shots and I just work harder at it. If I play golf with people that I beat all the time, it doesn't make me any better. So you're right, Scott. Change rooms if you're in a room that you're the smartest person in the room.
Absolutely. Well, Aaron, I can't thank you enough for your time, man, and for coming on the show today to educate my audience about all things mastermind. What's one parting shot you want to give? What's one takeaway message you'd like people to know about masterminds before we go today?
Yeah, maybe it's not just about masterminds, but if you really want to go to a new height, you do need to be in community, whether that's an accountability group, start your own mastermind, get in a mastermind, surround yourself with competent, capable people that can take you to heights you want to go. I always say fear missing an opportunity more than you fear failure. If you're afraid out there that you're going to mess up, failure is in not trying, not in not succeeding. So I tell my kids when they were little, hey, there's no way to know until you try. So go out there, develop a mindset of can do, not that you can't, and be afraid that you're going to miss an opportunity, and you too can have a successful and significant life.
Yeah, I love that. I've got a little bit of a follow-up there, because you said, be in a mastermind, right? Start your own mastermind, do all these things, right? I've heard people argue time and time again over, well, why would you pay for mentorship, right? Like, why are you paying for these groups and these, and it's like you said, and in my mind, it's accountability, right? But B, I'm speeding up my timeline. Sure. I'm learning from people who are already successful at doing what I want to do.
Sure. Well, the other thing is we pay attention to what we pay for.
Right.
And if there's no skin in the game, the next thing that comes up that can take its place, you'll go do that rather than showing up. And when there's a pain point, you're going to show up, you're going to do the work. And so, yeah, I spend 10% of my gross earnings annually on personal and professional development. And every year my income increases. And so it's just a great ROI.
I love that. Well, Iron, again, thank you so much for coming on the show and for giving us your time and your effort today. And where can people reach out to you? Where can they find you if they want to follow up and kind of see what you're up to these days and what kind of offers you have?
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I would love to interact with you to see how we can help you. If there's a mastermind is something of interest, we're starting 3 new groups right now, first groups that we've launched in 4 years. So take full advantage of that. Reach out to us at viewfromthetop.com. That's spelled with a V, Victor, viewfromthetop.com. There's an application there. There's no commitment. Just sign up on the application. We'll schedule a time to talk with you. We'll find out what your needs are. And if we can help you, that'll be great. And if not, then I will have had an opportunity to meet a great person. So reach out, viewfromthetop.com.
Awesome. And we'll drop those links in the show notes so it's easy for everyone to get to. Aaron, absolute pleasure, man. I can't thank you enough for coming on.